Hey, this is Gareth and Bruce. This is our first attempt at a podcast.
We just don't know where it's gonna go.
You got more of the gruff voice. I got more of the
Softer feminine voice.
screw you.
Hey.
I don't know, I felt a little snobby when we hit 10 episodes.
Okay, that's an interesting question.
The two of us can be Vin Diesel. Gareth can drive like him. And I can look like him.
Welcome to Spaghetti Junction. My name is Gareth,
My name is Bruce.
and we talk about things. We just don't know where they're gonna go.
Hello and welcome to the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce.
My name's Gareth. What's up?
We talk about things.
We just don't know where they're gonna go.
So one thing about having the flu is
That's great.
really-
I can actually finally have a gruff voice. I can actually sound like I'm on the radio. It's actually pretty cool.
it's starting to sound like me.
It's I know. It's very liberating, actually. I can actually talk like this.
Liberating.
It is. Like, I can actually now hear myself on the radio. Hey, this is 94.2 with your host, Gareth and Bruce. Bringing in this next evening's light coming at midnight, 12:05. We're coming in for the song Love Me Like You Do by the Doobie Doos. Stay and listen.
There was Ellie Goulding, but you know.
The building.
Ellie Goulding.
Oh, it is actually Ellie Goulding, you're right.
It's actually a very good song. Actually. I
Stay
like that.
tuned. Next track is Love Me Like You Do by Ellie Goulding.
It's one of my favorite modern pop songs. I don't have a lot of pop songs that I enjoy.
Ellie Goulding?
That particular song.
Because it's from the movie. Or not?
Look, it worked. It worked very well in 50 Shades of Grey, but it's a cool song. It's just a well-written pop song.
A well-written.
A well-written pop
It's
song.
a well-written
A
song.
well-written pop song. There we go. Yeah. No, I just enjoy the song.
I actually haven't heard you really say that you actually have a lack of a pop song. So
You know what? I'm a sucker for just a really strong melody and a good chorus, and that song kind of ticks quite a few boxes there. Yeah.
And does she tick your box?
Yeah. Geez, like she ticks a couple
Wow,
of
you
boxes.
ticked
there.
all the boxes
Oh.
in the
Wow.
factory.
Yeah, you see, you can do that. I can't.
Yeah, baby. You're welcome. I'm really liking this. I think I'm going to keep like this the whole time.
You should. This is where you head onto Tinder and then do the voice notes and stuff. Like that.
Oh, I'm done.
Trust me. Ask me how I know.
So basically, I need to make sure that I have some form of a cold almost every time we record.
Yeah.
And then I'm done.
See, that's my advantage is that
I know, you
do
have
this
it
all the
naturally.
time.
You have it naturally. I actually know now what I'm missing out on. I do. But my look makes up for the voice.
Your
so
looks
it's fine.
You mean your
And your
looks
voice,
My
looks.
voice make up for my looks. Makes up for my looks.
It's horrible. It's true. It's horrible. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
Okay, much love. Much love. I mean, we may as well just go into it. I mean, this episode and the following one are going to be reasonably. We do deep episodes, but these two are reasonably heavy.
They are, yes.
They. So yeah, I mean, next one is you must just wait for them. But and as you heard in the beginning, of the our not warning, but our what do you call it? It's like a. I'm trying to find the wording for it, but basically, for that intro that we just did, was the one that's a warning that it's going to be some sensitive issues and some sensitive matters, and if it's not what you would like to listen to, then I mean, it's not going to be like everything intense, but it's just saying just be aware that this is a little bit darker, unfortunately. But we felt that it was the right way to go the right or the wrong way to go, because this doesn't seem to stop.
Yeah, in light of recent events.
Yeah, and this doesn't seem to stop, unfortunately, and here we are faced with another school shooting, and we felt, hey, let's try and get into it, and that's definitely not Bonzo, dude. It's definitely not Bonzo. Oh, sorry, that means great or awesome. It's just a slang that I
have never heard that word before.
I don't know where it came from. It's just, it's basically not good.
Okay.
Not Bonzo. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Please. Okay.
So we are chatting about the most recent school shooting that happened in Uvalde, Texas.
Yeah.
At Robb Elementary School.
Yeah.
Where 18-year-old Salvador Ramos firstly tried to take the life of his grandmother.
Yeah.
By shooting her at the house where he lived with her.
Yep.
And then drove to Robb Elementary School, walked into the school, and went on a shooting rampage, and killed 19 young children. I mean, elementary school, for those in South Africa, that's primary school. That's primary school age.
Primary school, yeah.
Up to about 12. And 2 teachers, so 21 people in all. Before he was eventually shot and killed by an off-duty border patrol agent,
Yeah.
who
This happened.
who happened to be having a haircut across the road, and got a weapon from the guy cutting his hair. Apparently,
That shows you how
that's
many-
where, and then just went in because the police were dithering basically, and I think, as far as I remember, his daughter was at the school, so his wife had already gone
into the school.
I think so, yes. But his daughter was attended the school.
His wife. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His daughter attended the school, so he was like having none of this, and
For
he
sure.
went in, and he was the one who actually ended up stopping, this whole thing from going any further. And this turned into this is the worst school shooting in Texas history.
And it's the second worst behind Columbine.
Okay. That's
It's the second worst school shooting in the history of America.
very, very scary.
Yeah. And it's number 27 of this year so far.
In 6 months.
In 6 months that there's been, in fact, in less than 6 months. We're still only
We're not in. Yeah, we haven't finished June.
done with June,
Yeah,
so
5.5 months. It's
Yeah.
Jeez.
27.
Yeah.
And there was 240 odd.
212.
212 nationwide. What would you call it?
General mass shootings.
General mass shootings.
So not school shootings, but general mass shootings. 212 since the beginning of 2022. Yeah. So, just some very, very scary facts to start us off.
Get us going.
Yeah. Exactly.
You have been warned.
Yeah. This is a lot of this information was based on the NPR.org, which is the National Public Radio.org.
Okay.
They started an organization called Education Week, and they've been tracking these school shootings since 2018.
Okay.
And since they started, there were 119 incidents and stuff. So, but they sort of started putting together more of a solid database, and
So based on the actual event, as you say, the police didn't enter in the amount of time which you would think. And in fact, there was a mother who actually managed to gain access to the school and managed to find both her kids and got them out even before the police did anything.
Yeah.
So it just makes you think, if a civilian can get into the school, find 2 kids and get out, there are a lot of questions as to why the police didn't get in earlier. I don't know if you found out much more about that.
Honestly, I didn't. But I do. I find it very surprising that in a state like Texas
is like the gun, like very big on guns, isn't it?
Exactly, and like freedom, and a lot of people say, I'm not American, I'm from Texas, kind of thing. They'll see Texas as a country on its own, almost, but still incredibly patriotic towards, USA and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I would have expected a much more sort of go kind of attitude to instead of kind of milling around, not doing too much. But and I think there was the gunman gained access through
There was a back door.
A back door that should have been closed and
Okay.
wasn't.
A bit on that, all right. First of all, there is normally at times, from what I read, there's a there was a brick against the door,
Right, just holding it open.
yeah, exactly, and then it gets and then the brick gets moved away, and then it shuts. The problem was that it didn't shut properly, so it didn't lock.
Oh, I see.
Which which that classroom teacher wasn't aware of.
I see.
So that's how he came in. And what the I think it was the sheriff's office in the beginning of it all, they blamed the teacher of that classroom where the shooter came in.
Oh, so it was a door, an outside door into an actual classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they blamed. They basically. I don't know if that door went into a classroom. I don't know. I don't want to say it is and then it's wrong.
Okay.
But there was a door that was accessible, which is normally shut. And what the sheriff's office did, without even really thinking ahead as to what their words, might say and might have the effect on somebody, they pretty much blamed her. They said that basically, in their own way of saying things, that it was the teacher's fault, that she was the one that didn't shut the door. And obviously it impacted her
Can you imagine?
and people around her until the sheriff's office basically saw the backlash and they backpedaled. And they said, well, actually, no, we don't have, we don't really have that kind of a proof. And therefore, no, she's not a suspect. Or not, she's not what we said earlier.
Right.
But the problem is when you start saying that, because like every person there who has lost their child are looking for any
Anyone to
form
blame,
of anything. When you say, well, by the way, pretty much that, she didn't close the door. The problem was that when the door was closed, it didn't lock for some reason.
Right.
And that's how we got in. But then they backpedaled.
Okay.
And no, it wasn't her doing it. It was that door. Maybe it wasn't. When it closed, it didn't lock. They don't know.
Okay.
But sorry, I mean, I know that that has been in the news, and it wasn't her actually.
I see.
Yeah.
What's crazy to me is that, based on a lot of the research that I did with regards to the why, because Bruce likes to question why. I've and this is something I'm sure will, people will unpack for ages to come. But why he went to a school that contained such young kids? That's a big question. Because a school shooter, 18, very typically, a lot of times is either a student at the school, or he is, he'll be a past pupil, and then goes back to the same school. I don't think he had any sort of connection to the school at all.
My thoughts on that is that it's possible that he went there because it's near where his grandmother lived. So when he, went there and shot, he got in his car, and I don't know. I think that's a possibility. I don't know, but this is me thinking about it. Because it was reasonably close to where his grandmother is. It was the easiest, because I don't, maybe he had a problem, with kids for some reason, or I don't know. But that's the only thing which I can think of rationally, is that it was near where he'd first shot.
Maybe he.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. This is just speculation.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I have maybe. Look, it's obvious that he wanted to make some sort of very, very loud statement, and an elementary school is a very soft target.
Yeah, that's true.
And instead of maybe a shopping mall, something like that, possibly more armed security guards at a shopping mall than there are at an elementary school.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So maybe that was we don't know what sort of
No.
twisted logic was going on in his head. So
No, I mean, we can ask this for days. I mean, and I had a point here, but it's gone. I'll bring it up if I remember it. But yeah, I mean, I think, oh yeah, that was it. The worst part about it, and it's really, really bad. Like, not the worst part, but one of the facts that's bad is that he died before he could face what he did, before he can maybe explain in a sick, weird way.
Yeah.
He was already taken out.
Yes.
And I guess the ideal was not to kill him, but at that point, it's either him or the kids, and then he had to go down. But I guess if I was a parent, you'd be, you won't have any answers. I mean, maybe his grand, when she is better, we'll discuss it. But at this point, and that's the thing, you can do all of that, and this is like more on the side thing, because we'll never know. But if you do that kind of thing and then you die, what happens afterwards when you meet up with God? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be him, both of them, to be honest, because but that's just a side thing. I don't know. But I think that's the hard thing, is that he's gone and the parents have no closure on it, I guess. Yeah.
And look, if you're in any sort of law enforcement, if there is an active shooter, you are trained to take that person down.
Yeah.
You shoot to kill. You don't shoot to wound. You stop the threat. And if that person gets deleted in the process,
there we go.
Then so be it. And unfortunately, yes, now parents of the victims don't have that closure. They can't sit in a courtroom and see this guy get sentenced.
No.
But now that's very interesting that you brought that up, because based on a lot of research, and I'm going to go forward in my notes a little bit because it's pertinent.
Yep. Do it.
Yes, according to a lady by the name of Gillian Peterson, and she is an associate professor of criminology and criminal justice at Hamline University in Minnesota, as I mentioned.
Carry on.
And she has done a lot of research on this, formed a database and a task team or whatever to really sort this out. And her research found that every school shooting has actually it's been an intended murder suicide. So that perpetrator has gone in there. They've gone in there wanting to die, either by their own hand or suicide by police shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, this is going to end in me dying, whether I do it myself.
Yeah, because they don't want to go to prison for a lifetime, basically.
No, they don't. And there are school shooters that are sitting in prison because they didn't get deleted, or they didn't self-delete or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm gonna give you some stats.
Yes.
You good with that?
Yes.
So this is basically around child-related gun violence, okay, and school shootings mixed in with it. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
A couple of minutes.
Okay, so here's a few stats, and they are quite boom.
Okay.
Each day, 12 children die from gun violence in America. 12 children die from gun violence in America. Another 32 are shot and injured a day, and that's just children.
Now, this is specifically violence, not accidents.
No violence.
Okay, so just
no.
It's not. That's a different. The accidents are a different.
That might be linked.
Different category.
All I know is that this is gun violence.
Intended.
Yeah, because it's violence. Yeah,
okay.
It's violent.
All right.
Guns are the leading cause of death, which we know, among American children and teens. 1 out of 10 gun deaths are aged 19 or younger. Firearm deaths occur at a rate more than 5 times higher than if you're going to drown.
Wow.
So let me give you like one or so more. The US has 2,032 school shootings since 1970. So basically, that's 52 years. There's been over 2,000 school shootings. And then 948 school shootings have taken place since the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary, which was also big one. That wasn't in 2012.
Right.
So basically, in the space of 10 years, there has been 948 school shootings. So basically, at a ratio of 94 or 95 per year.
That's scary. Like, how do you wrap your head around something like that?
And then an estimated 4.6 million American children live at a home where at least one gun is kept loaded and unlocked.
Ooh.
4.6 million children.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in America with guns.
Yeah. I mentioned to you as well is that Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I can't do it. It's pretty cool. Anyways, Matthew McConaughey, he was at the White House.
Right.
As he does. As you do when you're
Matthew McConaughey.
When you're Matthew McConaughey, you can go where you want. And he was, live, live on TV, from the White House, just pleading for the government to make new gun laws, because he was actually from Uvalde. He's actually a local,
right?
And his was very, very, very intensive, very emotional, and saying these gun laws must be changed. I mean, you can get a gun and AR at the age of 18, but you can't drink until you're 21.
So, well, let's hope his pleas actually galvanize some, the government into actually some kind of action. Because, when does it end?
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't changed.
No, nothing's changed.
And like I mentioned to you, 2,032 school shootings since 1970. And so you would think when Columbine happened, which
exactly
was
right.
1999, that's the worst school shooting. And this latest one is basically the second highest one.
Right.
So you would think in 99, in 23 years, that gun laws would have changed. Mm-hmm. And you were still having the same conversation.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway. Yeah. Cool. So I when it comes to all these kind of things, we know Bruce likes to ask why, and so I found some very interesting research just on the sort of some of the common characteristics of what school shooters actually.
What make?
Sorry, that was my bad wording.
What was your wording?
No, the common characteristics of school shooters and that, and just find some of the commonalities that they found between sort of all of them, really, because there isn't like a kind of one particular profile of a school shooter.
Yeah,
and they also have found that mental health does not play a part. You can have a lot of mentally unstable, unhealthy people, but they don't all become school shooters.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So, so these are some of the characteristics. Although I'll just make a point here: these do not, and underline that, predict a shooter.
No, you can't.
So these are common characteristics.
Factors. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Pretty much are all male. Okay.
That's actually very true, yeah.
Yeah. Caucasian or white. Very interestingly, though, Ramos was not white. He was of Latin American, possibly Mexican. I don't know where his origins lie, but he wasn't. He wasn't white.
But I mean, it makes sense with the color. With the race of people. I think from all of them. There hasn't. Yeah, it's
been white.
It's been white the whole way through.
Very interesting.
It's interesting mentality.
I did hear a fact. Just completely. This is just in my head now. I did hear a fact. I was just doing some research. It's a little bit more research today. It seems like a lot of these school shootings happen at actually more upmarket sort of schools. They don't. They haven't tended to happen much at sort of schools in the lower class. It's more in sort of upper class areas that these things have happened, which is also very interesting. The perpetrators, they've been sort of quite isolated, and sort of suffered from a lot of rejection. That point now doesn't. I've got a point here that now doesn't make sense with what I just previously said, so I'm not going to do that one.
That's fine.
They have had very easy access to weapons, and what you talk about is that so many families who have got a weapon that is unlocked, readily available, and a lot of times they will steal a weapon from a family member or.
There has been, but I think, and correct me, but I think the higher percentage, the more they actually went into gun stores and they bought their own guns, like this person.
Yeah. Okay.
He bought an AR. So I think, I don't know a percentage, but I think the high percentage, like a 60-40. But again, this is just me. I haven't looked at all the facts properly, which you're doing. But from what I understand, a lot of them that they actually bought legally. They went out and and bought guns.
Yeah.
At the age of 18.
Yeah.
And not 21 where you can drink.
Yeah. If we have time, I've got some stats on how easy it is to actually get a gun, as well.
Yeah.
The perpetrator has been a victim of bullying, often from a troubled home, possibly divorced parents, abuse in the home, and they often leak plans on social media. So they will make statements on social media.
Yes.
And that should be. A lot of times those are overlooked, and it's like you start saying stuff like that on social media. That's a problem.
Sure.
And like I was saying before, most are students of that school or former students. Maybe they've been expelled and now they're really angry with either the faculty, because they got kicked out of school, or maybe someone someone caused them to be expelled, and that's when they go back. And
what's interesting is all of those factors can be with anybody.
Yes,
anybody.
But
it takes a portion, and it's like a low percentage within all of that tiny percentage. Exactly what you're saying. I had things like school and being bullied and blah blah blah, but there are people who have gone through all of that, but they haven't picked up a gun.
Exactly. Yeah. High school is tough. High school is tough. I don't know if anyone's realized this, but
high school sucked balls.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest 5 years of my life.
It was school was the worst years of my life. No, really. 13 years of like, what the hell am I doing? You laugh, but it was horrible. But I didn't go out and buy a gun.
No. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was the worst part of my life.
Yeah.
But even then, I didn't think, okay, I'm going to go and find a gun, and school sucked.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something. I don't know if it's any research, but there must be something mentally unstable with people.
There has to be. I think it's.
But that's not a full reason. I'm just wondering how much that came into.
I think it just comes down to probably an overwhelming set of factors that just one thing on top of the other that just send them over the brink, send them over the edge, and they decide that they make that choice.
And what you're saying, very well done. They decide, they make that choice. Yeah. They still have a choice at the end of the day.
Absolutely, still have a choice.
It wasn't just like everything overwhelmed, then they went out and do it.
Yeah,
there is still a choice in there to be made.
Yeah.
It's not a robotic action. Yes, sure, things build up to a point, and you want to but there is a final choice.
Yeah, and
that's the thing in life. We all have a final choice, even when things are at a hard place, and there is that choice. Like, well, what do I do? Which direction do I go?
Exactly. So I think this is quite a helpful little section here. Is possible warning signs. If you're around someone or some people who you're not too sure of, but that person will will dwell on feelings of rejection, injustices, or even unrealistic fears
Okay.
of something. They react to disappointments and criticisms or teasing with extreme anger and a desire for revenge. So, like, everyone ribs. I mean, we rib each other. It's like, it's just it's a thing. But
Sure.
but but some people can't take criticism or a disappointment. Maybe they get maybe just get rejected by that pretty girl that they had an eye on or something like that, and
No, but it can't. That cannot. That is not intense enough to tip you over the edge.
No, but I'm just saying,
You're saying it might be like a mesh of everything.
Yeah, it's just like a
Okay,
constant rejections from maybe not just girls, but from people who
Yeah,
try,
exactly. It's not
people
just
who try
girls.
to make friends with,
Yeah.
or
family members,
family
the mother or
members.
father might
Exactly.
not even accept them.
Exactly. A hypercritical parent, always on them. Oh, you're not good enough. You never, flip.
I think it's
that
probably
kind of
worse
thing.
than that, though. I think if you come from a broken family, and a very good example of this is from the butterfly effect with Ashton Kutcher.
I haven't seen that movie in ages.
I watched it
Good
again
one,
a
huh?
while ago, and
Yeah.
it still freaked me out. It's a powerful movie.
Okay.
And there's one character which the girl who he likes, I can't remember her name, but her brother. It's I would say he had almost all the attributes.
Right.
And there are just some people who are just mean and so angry, and that it basically takes over them, and they're just like, when you look at them and you spend time with them, it's like, so for that character in there, I mean, like things, for example, he took his friend's dog and put him in a brown, in a brown meshed bag, brown bag,
Yeah.
made out of fabric.
Okay.
Whatever the hell that's called. And then he put the dog in there, and then he lit it.
Oh my word.
But he did it in such a way that, that he didn't even, he showed no sign of pain or remorse or nothing. And when you see that kind of factor, that's when you know this guy really needs like a lot of help.
Right.
Because I can see it. And like one of my stats was here we go. In 4 out of 5 school shootings, at least one other person had knowledge of the attacker's plan, but they failed to report it.
Yeah.
4 out of 5.
Yo, that's
So basically 80% of these school shootings, somebody knew, but they didn't report it.
yeah.
And maybe they just didn't know that it was worth reporting, or they didn't report it because they didn't know what to do. But 4 out of 5.
Yeah, and I think we can see this as a huge cry for help, but also as a cry for attention.
Yeah.
And what better way to get attention than to
That
put that stuff out
platform.
on social media, and then suddenly you make suddenly then you actually do the deed, and now you're all over the news and all that kind of thing, and there's the attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's why you had quite a few people, quite a few guys who sort of almost idolized the Columbine shooters because they saw all the press attention that they got. They were labeled as heroes.
Yeah.
So just increasing anger, aggression, and destructive behavior, an obsession with weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And then also profound feelings of rejection and insignificance, and a yearning for recognition and acceptance. And that, I think, for any teenager, it's acceptance. We want to know that we're in with, and I think it's a human need to have a tribe, to be accepted as part of a group. And when you're on the outskirts, man, and no one wants to be your friend, that's a lonely road. And then like I said, often shooters will cite other other perpetrators as an inspiration because of the media coverage and attention that they received. So, yeah.
Okay. I know we spoke about that it's like almost 100%. Of the shooters being white. Now this is now not school shootings or mass shooting, but linked. I mean, I just thought it'd be interesting. Like a quick side thing is that black youth in America are 4 times more likely to be killed with guns than their white peers.
That's interesting. Yeah?
I just felt it was 4 times more likely. Very interesting. I know we mentioned mental illness and stuff, and this obviously makes sense. But the majority of individuals with diagnosed mental illness do not engage in violence against others. So when it's actually diagnosed that they have a problem, then it's obviously fixable. But if it's never diagnosed, because I don't know, the family doesn't see it as a problem, or they don't even notice it. But from what we're saying, it is noticeable.
Yeah.
Like a large portion of them, that where did I have that again? Yeah, that's 4 out of 5 school shootings. At least one other person had knowledge of the attacker's plan. 4 out of 5, but they failed to report it for. I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
But it just speaks about and obviously your thing about how to possibly recognize. And again, what we're saying is that not everything in there you're going to go, oh, that's a shooter. No, because we can't predict, but they have similar patterns all the way through. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And 93%. Sorry, I'm just enjoying this. Not enjoying these stats, but I find them very. Yeah. It like opens things up as well.
Yeah.
I know we need to finish up. One more thing. And this is actually very, very interesting because it's like, well, do they plan in advance or do they just do it?
No, they plan.
Harry Carey, and 93% of school shooters plan the attack in advance. It's an actual worked out thing.
Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, I'm waking up and it's built up and I'm going to go out and shoot. They actually systematically work out what they're going to do, which also shows they had that choice. But they're using it
with intent,
and they're using that choice obviously in completely the wrong way.
Yeah. The Columbine
99,
shooters,
yeah,
planned for a year.
A year.
How much planning do you do in a year?
And how much of actions do you miss in someone for a year? Do you not see that there's factors going on?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing from that people beginning to actually look. But a year in advance. That just shows. So I feel, as we wrap up, I guess, the mental illness. I don't think mental illness plays in with every, but I think from what I'm understanding from most of the shootings, there is some form of a mental illness problem that, or something in their lives like that hasn't been addressed. Because as we're seeing, if it's diagnosed in the right way, in the right time, those actions aren't going to happen. So there's a lot of factors to actually, how do we stop, school shooters, mass shooters.
I'm not sure if I didn't look closely into like a lot of the shootings that had happened in previous years.
Yeah.
But it seems quite unique. Columbine seems quite unique because that it's 2 guys who actually teamed up. Because a lot of times it's a lone shooter.
That is very, very true.
And
I think it's the only.
These 2 guys found.
I stand to be corrected in the comments. It's fine, but I think it's the only one of school shooting that there were 2 involved. No, actually, it might be more than one.
There might have been. I don't.
But yes, it's
just something I just thought of now.
That's very, very rare that there's more than one going in. Yeah.
But now, how scary is that? They found each other as kindred spirits, and they found that acceptance in someone else, and then decided that they would still go and.
Well, because they
found
believed in the same mantra.
They found that common ground.
Yeah.
And they decided, well, let's.
And I'm sure there was mental illnesses going on there as well. Mental illness, by the way, is not an excuse.
No, it's not.
It's not an excuse for what they do, but it's just if that was caught earlier and was looked into, it's possible that this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
It's just one aspect. amongst everything. Thanks. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. I know it
Interesting
was
chat.
guys and girls. Not interesting chat. You always say that.
It was.
Well,
not.
Yeah,
not
interesting
in
isn't the
not in
greatest word to
Not in the
use.
happiest way.
Sorry.
Right.
Gotta stop saying that.
Okay, I've got.
I mean, it's not a bad thing, but think of other words which you can use instead of
Think
interesting.
of my feet like this, like you.
No, in all seriousness, it's fine. But it wasn't interesting. Well, yeah, I don't think interesting is a word to
Yeah,
use.
probably not.
But I get what you're saying. You get what we're saying.
Come at me in the comments if you.
You get what we're saying. This is it's So come along for the ride. And then our next episode it's not going to be as dark, like as heavy as this, but there are factors in the next conversation that's also quite.
Yeah.
So a pre-warning again that back to back you're going to be having reasonably heavy, watch at your own discretion kind of
There you
thing.
go. Yeah.
We're not doing it because, hey, we can get dark. It's just been, this was obviously recent, and then the next conversation on another topic, kind of like it appeared for me like recent, and you were like, oh, no, that for a long time.
And I think it's an ongoing issue.
It's an ongoing issue,
Yeah.
So we're not going to tell you exactly what it is, otherwise you're not going to listen to the next one. So
Cool.
Stay-
Until next time.
stay tuned and all that kind of stuff. Like, comment.
Subscribe and share. Thanks very much for listening, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
See you next time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.